I've said a lot of times, and I've learned the hard way, that there are sharks in these business acquisition waters. So let me give you an example from a mentee this week that's a real time example. This mentee's been making a lot of cold calls. He had financials that he needed to go through. He went through those. Some of them looked good, some of them didn't look good. One of the ones that looked good, he talked to the owner. The owner explained that yes, he wanted to sell his business, he wanted to do it reasonably quickly. He was a wealthy guy, lived in a penthouse. I think he said he had a plane as well. Okay, so now some radar starts to go off here. But he ends up, the mentee, taking that information. He's got 100% seller finance. All of those things sound good. He had been previously talking to his law firm who said, okay, if you want to do an LOI, we need this information. So he sent this information to the law firm, doesn't hear back from the law firm, but when he follows up, he gets an email that says basically, we can no longer represent you, or we are no longer representing you, at least in this. So what happened? So when we were on the call together, the mentee and me, I said, can you go ahead and check his background? So there's a lot of tools that will let you do that. So he used one of those tools and he finds out that he's been evicted in June of this year. Now, a lot of people, one, don't go through the process of checking that. You will find a lot of things about employees, prospects in particular for acquisitions, etc. So go through that process. But why would a law firm that said they were going to do an LOI suddenly say they're not going to work with him anymore? Good question. I don't know 100% the answer to that, but I can make a pretty good educated guess. They probably did a background check on that target acquisition as well and came up with a lot of things that they didn't like seeing and said, wow, if this is the path we're going down, we don't want to go down this path. So it's important not only that you avoid deals like that and doing background checks. In the olden days, we used to use private investigators to learn what we could. Today, it's so much easier with the internet. But go through that work so that when you pass on to your law firm or whoever else it is, a financial institution, that you've done enough background to be comfortable in the background of those people. I would also advise you to do that with all your board members before you bring them on the board. You will save yourself a lot of headaches and very likely you'll save yourself a lot of money. I got burned early on with a situation like that, didn't do enough background, and consistently I see mentees run into situations where when they check the background information, they find things that pushes them away from that person and avoids them having a bad experience, at least with those people, that they could have gotten further into and had a bad experience later on. So investigate before you go through this process with the individuals you are working with or passing on to professionals or financial institutions. It will again save you a lot of time and save you a lot of money. So if you already know the steps and how to do this, great. If not, go over to brucewhipple.com. There's information there. And there's also, under free class, information on a conversation starter. I go through how to begin conversations with board members, law firms, accounting firms, acquisition targets, financial institutions, that sort of thing. So I think that would be helpful for you. I'm not a big fan of scripts. Most of the time they sound like scripts, but there's essentially scripts and templates there which are more along the lines of bullet points you can use so it sounds more like yourself. Okay, but remember, these waters are filled with sharks, so do your due diligence. It will save you time and money and credibility.